military and other crimes, and we will keep you informed about it. Amid the aspiration of Washington to shift the burden of military expenditures on Europe, the head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, on March the 4th, sent to the leaders of the European countries an open letter. Probably it's the very same European Union that cares about human rights, freedom, democracy. But what was that open letter about? It was an open letter with the proposed by her plan to rearm Europe. And the western part of it was meant. This document provides for the establishment of a new finance instrument that will enable countries, according to Ursula von der Leyen, to allocate loans worth up to 150 billion euro to procure military goods, to temporarily suspend the Pact of Stability and Growth on state debt and budget deficit caps, to increase military expenditures and to reroute the means to bridge the gap in the level of economic development of territories from the EU funds for militarization, as well as to expand the participation of European Investment Bank to finance defense needs.
What is it all about? Well, you say it's not possible to interpret it in a different way. According to Ursula von der Leyen, this so-called plan will make it possible to additionally mobilize a total of about 800 billion euros for defense purposes. Well, it's close to 1 trillion euros. It is nothing but fueling a war on the European continent. And in the distorted interpretation of this advocate of a great war in Europe, implementation of this plan will contribute to helping Europe enter a new era of security and prosperity. And it will make it possible to provide assistance to, I quote, free and sovereign Ukraine, end of quote. You know, one could assume that they are living in a different world, in a different planet, that they never look out of their windows. They only watch the television that they fill with disinformation by themselves. Well, we see that there is an ongoing militarization of those countries that are losing their ability for normal functioning of the economies. Historically, that is what was called provoking a war. There are no details about the sources of such a large-scale funding of militarization for Europe. Nonetheless, experts note that it will take austerity measures in Europe in order to finance these plans, because they don't have any other sources for financing this enormous sum, which is close to 1 trillion euros. To what extent the Europeans will go in meeting their illusory goal of protection against the Russian threat? I call it illusionary because it is an artificial story that is based on Russophobia and anti-Russian hysteria. And it is being promoted by hardly adequate Brussels officials who have lost their sense of reality. We'll see very soon where these plans will bring them. Interestingly, these assessments by Ursula von der Leyen are shared not by everyone. Just on the eve of publishment of this initiative, some countries of the European Union blocked the new package of military assistance for Ukraine, worth up to 20 billion euros from the frozen Russian assets. It was blocked. It was presented by the head of the European diplomacy, Ms. Kaja Kallas. In essence, the European Union is turning from an economic union into a militarized structure, a de facto NATO office. The European Union should deal with economic growth. But where are the forecasts of economic development for the future, which is direct responsibility of the EU, of Brussels, and all those Brussels officials? Where is the plan to help EU countries get out of an industrial and scientific and technological crisis? We see none of this. The only thing we see are plans to militarize Europe, and it's not clear where they are going to take this money from. Now back to the situation in Ukraine. There are open data about the scale of desertion in Europe. According to the Ministry of Interior, in Ukraine in 2024, the number of cases increased by 7 times. By 7 times increased the number of those officers and soldiers who left their units, and the number of desertion increased by 11 times. In 2022, 3,220 people deserted from the armed forces. In 2024, this number was at 66,240 people. Those are official figures of Ukraine. In reality, according to experts,